This is the morning of the 30th of October. I want you to listen to this clip put up by Legal AF. Trump's dark past surfaces as Voight scandal erupts at Mar-a-Lago. Let's have a listen to this.
Welcome to the Court of History. The court is now in session. I am Sidney Blumenthal. There's so much going on, it's hard to keep track. With Trump, between tearing down the East Wing, bombing God knows who in the Caribbean, granting pardons to money laundering crypto kings who have invested in his son's firm. You can't keep track of what it is, but Trump can keep track of something else. There's always something else on his mind. It's right in the front of his mind. And Mehdi Hasan in Zeteo published a report that pointed out Donald Trump's great interest in the love life of the Project 2025 architect, Russell Voigt, and who is now the head of the OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, in charge of, as Voigt says, forcing trauma on government employees, especially in the shutdown. Apparently, they've been talking since mid-2024 during the campaign fairly regularly, and Trump, but not about the budget, strangely enough. According to this report, with two knowledgeable sources, Trump spoke to Voigt about the gorgeous and beautiful ladies who roam Trump's club Mar-a-Lago so often that it weirded out some of his advisors. Trump offered to be Voigt's wingman. Voigt was recently divorced, and Trump said he was his favorite bachelor and spoke rather crudely. I won't repeat what Trump said about what he wanted to get Russell Voigt, but you can imagine. I don't think he's been so successful recently. Russ seems to be interested in inflicting trauma on others as it's been inflicted on himself. I think the person I'd like to talk about this with is a person who's written an incredible article and about Russ's wife and her recent career. It is Nina Burleigh. She is an incredible journalist, historian, author. She's written really a book you have to read called The Trump Women, Part of the Deal. She's written many books. Her Substack, American Freak Show, piece by piece just covers the fantasia that we're subjected to. And lately she has a piece on it about Mary Voigt, little known until her piece appeared. Nina, welcome to the Court of History.
Thank you, and thank you for that very generous description of my work. I do hope that people will take a look at my Substack. We have a lot of fun with it, and I think it's the purpose of the Substack American Freak Show is really to remind people that this is not normal, and that these people are not normal, and we forget that because, as you said, the avalanche of weirdness and aberration. And aberrant personalities and aberrant psychology or psychiatry that we've been subjected to since the first administration, but now with the full power of all levers in their grip that we've been subjected to, that we tend to start to forget and normalize. And so that's the purpose of the Freak Show. And we have never had a shortage of material since I started it 3 years ago.
Yeah. Well, on American Freak Show, your Substack, which people should go to, you have an incredible article about actually an important person in the Trump universe, the wife, divorced wife of Russell Voigt, and Mary Grace Voigt. And you also have another article that we're going to discuss after this in the New Republic about probably one of the most influential women in today's Washington, Trump's Washington, a complete lunatic, Laura Loomer. So let's start with Mary Grace Voigt. Who is Mary Grace Voigt? Where did she come from?
There's an ad popped up. We'll just ignore the ad. Skip the ad.
Well, she's many of the, if you looked at Project 2025 and you studied some of the 900 pages and you looked at the writers of those, the many chapters of suggestions for the building of a white nationalist autocracy, which we're now seeing, you would find that a lot of the names, a lot of the people involved with the Heritage Foundation are couples. They're married couples. So you had Carrie Severino, let's say, married to, I forget his name, I'm sorry right now, but a Leonard Leo connected, his number two, married to somebody who's one of these, just kind of like really batshit crazy right wing stuff, and it's like Katie and Stephen Miller, these married couples who somehow found each other at I don't know what mega church or in the in the DC right wing circles. And so Mary Grace Vaught is the now ex-wife of Russell Vaught. As you mentioned, Russell Vaught, a very prominent person in the creation of the Project 2025. But Russell Vaught, and you know this because you've been in DC for a while, is one of those I hate DC, I hate civil service people who's basically a complete and utter inside the Beltway creature, and who's been there for a very long time, plotting and scheming and increasingly seething with a very personal and strange kind of rage at the progressive, and not just progressive, but any work
Government itself and all
government itself, people taking money for doing things that government is supposed to do. And anyway, we're interested in her and his wife because he's Mr. Family Values. And when he first came onto my radar, I did notice that he had just gotten divorced, and looked into the divorce record in Arlington. They have 2 children, and she divorced him, no fault, and it was a very quick divorce. It took 20 days in August of, I believe, 23. And right about that time is when he gets snapped on captured on a I guess ProPublica had a hidden camera or somebody in one of the right-wing donor meetings where he was selling his Project 2025 vision of the future for money. He said these words that you just quoted, which is, he repeatedly used the word trauma. I want to put the workers in trauma. I want them to be afraid to come to the office. And that the viciousness and the vitriol of this supposed, he starts his meetings off, we know this from another hidden camera situation, he starts his meetings off with prayer. He purports to be a Christian, and yet he's just seething with rage at his purported enemies on the other side.
He wants to hurt people, and he
wants to hurt people, and he wants to trauma, but
hostility to any sympathy or empathy.
No compassion.
He's a very angry guy, isn't he? And
very angry. And so what you have to look at when you're looking at that, I mean, we're not psychologists, but when you look at that, you wonder, what's going on at home? Like, what made this person this way? And then, of course, you find out, well, he's divorced. Well, now comes more information about Mary Grace Vaught.
Now, Mary and Russ were working together, weren't they? At
They
Heritage?
surely were. Well, she has a job at still holds a job as the Vice President of Communications for the Heritage Foundation.
That's
He had left and gone to, or he left the Trump administration and went to start the, what is it, Center for the Restoration of America or something. I can't remember the full name, but one of the right-wing, actually competitors kind of to Heritage. But he's very mobbed up in the writing of the Project 2025. He's in it, okay?
Yeah.
He's actually written, I think, one of the articles or an early piece of it, the sort of overview, right? Anyway, come to find out that she divorced him, or they got divorced right around the time that he starts pontificating in this seething way about of government employees and causing trauma. Well, what did Mary Grace Vaught go on and do? Mary Grace Vaught, around the time of the divorce, bagged a very lucrative contract from the the leader of public supervision, basically the public
Superintendent of Public Instruction.
Ryan Walters of Oklahoma. And if anybody who's been paying attention to kind of the stunts that these right wingers are pulling to get national attention, this guy would be on their radar, because he was doing things like announcing that every school, every classroom in the state of Oklahoma would have to have a Trump Bible, not just a Bible. He'd already been pushing Bible education into the schools, but a Trump Bible. And he had taken Ryan, what's her name, the Libs of TikTok woman, who's a notorious book burner type, and he put her in charge of the library system for the school children of Oklahoma. And he was looking for a national profile, and he hired Mary Grace Vaught, and Mary Grace Vaught was making a rather nice, tidy sum, up to $5,000 a week, according to the contract. Well, she had asked for $5,000 a week. She had a 3-year contract, and it only got through the first year because the whole thing blew up in their faces earlier when MAGA Republicans control the legislature of Oklahoma. So the fact that the MAGA Republicans who run Oklahoma politics got annoyed enough to get rid of this situation is telling me something.
Yeah, Mr. Christian Nationalist, Ryan Walters, the superintendent of public instruction, was found in his office doing what?
Well, okay, he was found in his office with porn on the TV. He was lecturing. He had some kind of a Zoom call or a PowerPoint that he was putting up, and porn video went up on the screen. Of course, he pretended that was some kind of a hack. But that happened. But I don't think that was what provoked them to start looking into the contract. It's always follow the money. And
I don't know if this is one of these clickbaits. So far, I don't see anything about Trump's dark past. But there's another 8 or 9 minutes, and I can't listen to this woman. But anyway, you'll have the link. Let me know what you think. Pass it along, and thanks for listening.